Hi, my name's Brett Kelly, founder and CEO of Kelly Partners Chartered Accountants. Is social media real? I keep seeing this Gary Vee guy. He says, publish content every day, it'll change your life. Is that true? This is my social media challenge. Hey guys, my name's Brett Kelly. I'm the founder and CEO of Kelly Partners Chartered Accountants. Now in 2006, it was a genuine startup. I started the firm in a small room about this size. And what our aim was to help private business owners who are get up early, stay up late people that want to go somewhere. Now, in that time, in the first year, from startup, we went from 0 to 4.2 million in revenue, and we were rated in the top 100 largest accounting firms in the country. There are 13,000 firms in the country. So is it possible to reinvent, I asked at that time, the quality of service in an established industry? And my answer was yes. And at that time, I just very quietly sat down and punched away at making that happen. Now today, 14 years later, we've grown at 35% on average every year for 14 years. That's nearly 10 times the industry average. I think that's a pretty good performance. Now we've doubled the business every 3 years, 4 times in a row. So I consider we know a little bit about how to grow a business, albeit a traditional business. Now, when I look out in the world today, I look at the tech space, the most successful tech companies, in my view, have just reinvented traditional, very large industries. Airbnb, that's just hotels reinvented. Uber, that's just taxis reinvented. And there's a great old saying that everything old is new again. I think it was a song. It certainly feels that way. So I want to talk about social media. I've resolutely stayed away from social media. I've done a little bit, but very little, call it not much. Sometimes I make some dodgy videos myself and share them. I'm advised by my 12 and 14-year-old boys. I do have 3 children and a beautiful wife with 2 very cute dogs. But I thought, is this real? And then, I'm constantly asked by people, hey, I've seen this guy on the internet, I've seen this guy on the internet, etc., etc. And, I have an inquiring mind, and I think to be successful in life and business, you've got to continually reinvent, you've got to be open to new ideas, and you shouldn't just dismiss things, off the top of your bat. So what's my thesis? What are my thoughts? Well, my thoughts, is this digital realm real? I think it probably is. So who would you turn to? Well, the loudest voice in the space is a guy called Gary Vee. So here he is, banging away, and he's published this thing called How to Make 64 Pieces of Content in One Day. And why does that really matter? Well, if you're planning to be relevant in business over the long term, you need to consider putting out 100 plus pieces of content a day. Is that actually real? Every single day. Like, who could work a job? Who could actually do the thing, the mission, the vision, the thing that they're called to? If you're a brain surgeon, how are you going to put out 100 pieces of content a day? Every single day. Across the 7 to 10 platforms that matter. These logos may change, but the thesis doesn't. Now, I'm a thoughtful guy. I think deeply about what matters and how to do things well and how to do things very well in the long term. But to really drive the point home, this guy says, this Mr. V, he says, make sure people get it. And the reason why people don't make it is because they overthink and overvalue the production of their message. Well, to make and produce, 64 pieces of content a day, every single day, well, that's a big task. It's like a second job. You're definitely going to need a team. Now, this business of ours, Kelly Partners Chartered Accountants, what do? We work with private business owners who want to go somewhere. We've got over 7,500 business groups that we look after. We've got 40 partners, 250 team members, revenues approaching $50 million, group profits over $20 million. It's a real business. We listed it in 2007 on the Australian Stock Exchange. So unlike much of what you might see on the internet, this is a public company. You can look up the accounts and you can find out that what we're saying is real, and that they're actual people banking actual checks off legitimate activities every single day. A lot of what is on the internet, I don't know. I don't know if it's real. But let's find out. So being a challenger, a stirrer, what in Australia we'd call a G-up artist, I thought, right, let's take Gary Vee at his word. Let's produce 64 pieces of content every single day. Let's be very clear on what we're doing and why we're doing it, how we're going to do it. And let's give this thing a bit of a nudge. So I thought, let's come up with the Gary Vee experiment, 6 months or forever. Now I notice he emphasizes, I've been doing it 300 odd episodes of wine and 3 million episodes of whatever, so that's fine. I'm not a short-term guy. I've been in this business 14 years, 27 years as a chartered accountant, happy to keep punching away. But in order to do that, you do need to make a significant financial investment and put a world-class team together. Now, the heart of building a great business is great people. You need to have world-class people. You need to be very clear about what you're doing. And we have a framework at Kelly Partners to do that. It looks like this. It's not something we came up with yesterday, but essentially, you're going to be very clear about how you're actually going to start, a clear foundation. What is the mission? What are the values? What is the vision, philosophy, strategy, and structure? So here, my mission is to find out whether social media is real. And what I mean by that is whether a private business in Australia and elsewhere potentially can harness social media to make a material, financial, and measurable impact to their business. If I can prove that up or not, I'm going to save everyone a lot of time and money or give them a new and better way to help grow their business. My values are that I'm open-minded and I'm very keen to learn. And I'm going to go to the best of the best to see if there's something they can teach us and can they show us how to do it. In terms of vision, we want to be the leaders in digital in terms of helping people and empowering Australian small and medium-sized enterprise to move their businesses with social media. Our philosophy, as I've mentioned, is to be open-minded, to be forward-thinking, to be challengers. Our strategy is broken up into 3 parts. So what is our objective? Our objective is to grow from 0 revenues generated from social media within 12 months to over $1 million of recurring revenue a year from social media. We want to build up just the number of followers required to do that. Now, there are 2 schools of thought there. One, you need 1,000 people that love you, and another, you need 100 million people that love you. We have no idea of what the answer is there, but we'll see. In terms of structure, it's an activity of our Kelly Partners group, so that's all very easy. Now, from an operations point of view, we've put together a world-class team. We've got Matt Purcell, who's got a very highly ranked podcast together with his team. They've done it before. They've got a great podcast, fantastic social presence for a number of prominent Australians. And then what we're going to then go out and is to make sure we've got a process. So every Friday morning, we're going to produce the content. We've got a team ready, tied it up. It's all documented. It's following exactly this format to see what we can get out there, to see whether it makes a difference to our clients and the broader SME business community of Australia. And then from a brand point of view, we think that'll take care of itself, etc. So we do have a methodology. Now here it is. Here's the 64 pieces of content in a day. I looked at this and I said, hello. This is a 157 page PowerPoint presentation. And I must congratulate Mr. V. This is a very high quality piece of work. It's a very generous act to share that with little people all the way down here in Australia. And what I'm hoping to do is put together a huge amount of overwhelming effort with an incredible world-class team to see whether you can actually do that. Now, I'm not going to put my Brett Kelly spin on this. I'm not going to put a Kelly Partners spin on this. We'll share our content that is proven to make a difference to a private business owner. But what I am going to do is I'm literally going to slavishly follow these 64 pieces of content a day, content at scale, with a long-term perspective, over 100 pieces of content every single day across 7 to 10 platforms that matter. We've set the platforms up and we'll bang away and we'll just see what happens. I love this word here, this thesis word. I like to think things through and say, okay, well, here's the thesis. You've got to be in content at scale on social media. Now, this is not a new thing for me. And the reason I share that is, in 1997, I lost my job. My boss came to me and he said, you might be best off somewhere else, and I agreed with him. And so what I did was I wrote this book. It became a #1 bestseller in Australia. I interviewed 34 prominent Australians on what made them successful, Australia today and the future. And what this taught me was that I had to use different approaches to move myself forward in life. In the degrees I have a Bachelor of Business, I'm a qualified chartered accountant, a qualified financial planner. I think I'm a fellow of the Tax Institute of Australia. I have a master's degree in taxation. But I knew all of that is conventional. Education, as Jim Rohn, the famous American, would say, will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. So off I went. I did this book, and every 7 years since, based on the BBC 7-Up series, I've written a book. This one's coming out in May, the latest, but I've written a book on what I've been working on the last 7 years. 7 people that changed the world. 16 business owners, private business owners, leading business owners in Australia. And this new one's coming out. Can't show you who's in it yet. Investment Wisdom, 9 of Australia's best investors. And when I started our business, I wrote this book called Your Money, Your Choice, which is the philosophy that makes our firm different and has animated how we train our people. So I am a huge believer in finding different ways to engage in life and business, and that's certainly been very successful for me. I want to emphasize that I started our business with minus $130,000 and have turned that into somewhere between $80 and $120 million worth of value for our shareholders. So this is a real business. I'm not trying to go on the internet hoping that you'll click and follow me and then I'll feel great. What I'm hoping to do is share information that is highly valuable and proven to improve the life and business of an Australian private business owner, or I would argue a business owner anywhere in the world. Now what I've done is what I typically do, go and find the best in the world. That's Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk, from New York, Russian-American, son of Russian immigrants. I think the guy's very entrepreneurial, very well-spoken, has a lot of good and interesting ideas. But what I don't know is I just don't know. He's obviously not a public company, doesn't publish his financials. I don't know what is real and what isn't. And so what I thought I'd do, because he's published this incredible guide, is let's just have a go. Now in Australia, I played a lot of cricket, and that's a sport like baseball in America. There's this great saying that when the batsmen weren't making much progress, you'd sit on the hill at the SCG and people would call out, "Have a go, you mug." It was a saying to say, get on with it, go a bit faster, play a shot, do something. There's a great Australian comedian called H.G. Nelson who I interviewed in my first book in 1997, and he had this great saying called that said, "Go in hard, often and early." Now I believe in both these sayings, going hard, going often, going early, have a go, you mug. Don't sit back and be one of those people that's a sort of can't, a person that tells you what you can't do. Be a person that gets on the front foot and has a go. So look, I'm going to take a very large chunk of change and we're going to invest to see whether we can make a difference to the lives of our clients, other business owners that really want to live their highest life, realize their full ambition, make their dreams come true. And we're going to take the guidance of Mr. V, as I'll call him. He's called himself Professor G here, Gary V, Vaynerchuk, etc. I'll just call him Mr. V, this American. We'll see if this big chunk of PowerPoint can generate some value right here down under. So to all you people out there that are interested in growing your business, hang with me. This is going to be a challenge. You'll see something every day. If you're wondering, has Brett lost his mind? No, I'm going to continue to innovate to understand this digital space. I have young children, 2 boys, 14, 12, and a little girl, 7. And I am convinced that the future of all commerce is software and digital engagement. It's a tool like any other, and that we should understand it. And the day that you think you know everything and you can't learn is the day you're dead, in life and business, literally. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy this Gary V social media challenge that we're going to undertake. There's a little experiment. Come with us on the journey. I'm going to have a little bit of fun. I have a sense of humour. Not everyone laughs. I understand that. And we'll see together if we can make a difference in our lives and businesses. Have a great day.